I mean, that's the joy of being a composer for licensing. You know, that, yeah, you could be the composer that writes acoustic guitar music, but there's no reason why you shouldn't compose other styles of music. You know, there's a lot of joy in having a big variety of different styles that you can just work and compose. And, you know, you can be composing an acoustic track today and tomorrow it could be a cinematic trailer. I mean, nobody's telling you not to do it. It's just about you know, getting your head around of how can you compose certain styles of music. And the joy of making music is the same as making money with your music, okay? At least that's for me. I got started because I wanted to earn money with my music, and that is true to this day. And I want to help you do the same thing.
So many producers, unfortunately, never get that opportunity to feel even that one point of success where you said someone had purchased a beat for $180, you know, out of nowhere. You know, oh God, I made a sale. This thing is real. You felt it. You experienced it. That can psychologically take you to a whole different place now in terms of your ambitions and where you want to see your career and your goals, because all it takes is just one indicator, just one person to believe in your work, right?
Yeah.
And what did that sale do for you?
Yeah, so it did exactly that. And so I also want to clarify that on the way to that was not like, oh, I just posted a few beats here and there. Like I was like on it, like on the fence about whether or not this was even possible, like as a career. Like, should I invest this much time into this? Because, like, especially where I come from, it's a bit unreasonable. Like, to other people, that would be like the career choice. Especially, I didn't grow up like doing music or anything like that.
Even the people that did, like Kanye, did it on a bunch of interludes on College Dropout. And I heard that, I was like, oh, that's the shit I'd be using.
Right.
And then it still wasn't able to influence a generation until I got involved with 808s and Heartbreaks, and then...
No fluff, straight to the point. Number one, you gotta break rules. You hear what T-Pain said? He said that auto-tune had been out for a while, but he was the first person to use it like how he did. If you're gonna be in the music business, you gotta be a disruptor. You're gonna be a new artist, you gotta shake things up and be creative. This is the only way people pay attention to you. You think I'm playing? Go look at Tupac, Biggie, go look at NWA, Death Row, Jay-Z, Nelly, Ludacris, T.I., Jeezy, 50 Cent, Eminem, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Outkast, Nicki, Cardi, the list goes on. They all had a very unique value proposition, so they were able to cut through because they were breaking rules. T-Pain had to find a way to separate himself from everybody else. He couldn't use auto-tune like everybody else did. He couldn't use it like Roger Troutman did the talk box and all these other people. He had to find a way to separate himself, so he used it wrong, quote unquote, because you weren't supposed to do it for an entire song. But he changed popular music by doing that.
It's been too many times I've been working with artists, and then they finally get their statements back and they wonder, well, if I sold 100,000 copies, why I don't have $100,000? Because if they actually were educated, they would know that that's not how it works, which it explains it in this book right here. It does explain it. And then some people say, well, I got a manager. Why are they trying to take money from me? They my manager. They're supposed to, look out for me, and I'm just supposed to pay them. No, it doesn't work like that. Everybody's going to want a piece of everything, especially if you are a big commodity. They're going to want a piece of everything, and you're going to have to pay. And you're going to have enough money to pay them. And then most people that are educated, they're going to know how much money you have before you even get it, if you're not educated. So that's why having these tools will make you a better musician overall, because now you can focus on the music and you can focus on the business side as well.
I just stay focused on the grind, like just keep my eyes on the prize, you know what I mean? And just keep pushing forward. But that's a good one to bring up, man, because it's sad too, because a lot of people will be younger, and they don't really, and they won't have the right people around them. That's another big thing, is people around you. I don't have nobody around me that's not going to straighten me up or not going to let me do nothing like that. Like my brother would never let me do anything. If he seen something, he'd straight up be like, "Not, bro." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to have the right people around you. Don't have no yes men around you. Oh yeah, man, let's see who can do more of this. You know what I mean? Like, do that. And it's like, nah, like I was fortunate enough to live through a lot of that already. So it's like, been there, done that, like where, you know what I mean? Well, no, not all that, but you know what I mean? Right. So it's like, just surround yourself with good people, like-minded people, and stay focused. That's how I've stayed out of trouble, for real.
How did you discover auto-tune? Because I'm going to be honest with you. What's the guy's name?
Roger Troutman.
Roger Troutman.
Right.
He used it in a totally
he wasn't the
different
first.
That was
way.
talk box.
Huh?
That's a completely different
That's a
thing.
completely different thing, okay.
He used TalkBox, so
Okay.
that was like you gotta learn how to fucking play keys, and you know you gotta play
That's
the
the
shit.
analog version.
What are you celebrating?
Hey, man, you. We celebrating you, motherfucker. Team motherfucking Grizzly, baby. Come on. So how did you, all right. So, how did you get so what was you just in the studio
So,
getting
no,
recorded?
it was a fucking commercial. It's a goddamn commercial. Darkchild used it on a Jennifer
The
Lopez
producer,
remix.
Darkchild.
Yeah, producer Darkchild used it on a Jennifer Lopez remix, and I heard it for like 2 seconds. I was like, I gotta find out what that is, because I want to use it on a whole song.
People are out to take advantage. Just being honest with you. It's not necessarily a horrible thing. It's not, because at the end of the day, I've made a pretty good amount in this music business, but I did have some type of education, and I did understand a little bit more than what some people would know, because I educated myself to a point to where I at least kind of knew, like, okay, this seems right and this just doesn't seem okay. But you have to know what you're jumping into. You jump into an industry where people have to make money. Everything is performance based. They're trying to get the most out of you, and they're trying not to spend that much money to get the most out of you. And they're damn sure not trying to pay you like that either. So you have to understand how to get compensated, and you have to understand what your worth is.
Now, I want to talk about the importance of composing music, that it comes easy to you. There's many opportunities for us composers to just license our music and to start earning money with our music. Now, obviously, I get a lot of results with acoustic music. It comes something, it's a music style that comes very easy to me. Right? I can just grab the microphone and start playing the guitar. It's very easy to just come up with ideas. Okay, so whether you are an electronic composer, a cinematic composer, a trailer composer, a hip hop producer, whatever is your style or the genre that you write music on, then you should certainly focus on that. This is what I'm always talking about, not only for beginners, but as well for experienced composers, to just focus on their strength. That doesn't mean that you're not going to compose or write music in different genres, but you first need to master the genre that you're good at, or that you have a natural talent and ability, so you can then embark in different genres.
If you want to go deep into this music industry and get compensated for what you're worth, it all boils down to the education of the music business. Learning the ins and outs and learning how to get paid and how to get compensated for your work. And I can tell people this all the time, and I can try to refer people to resources and just different places. And for some reason, a lot of the musicians, that includes producers, artists, writers, you guys just don't want to do any type of research, or you don't want to educate yourself on the music game. I understand you want to make music, and I understand that you can pay people to do stuff like this, but I'm telling you right now, it's actually best that you know what is going on. You have to have some type of starting point to know what is going on. If not, you might lose out on a few things, and your pockets might feel a little thin at the end of the day.
How have you stayed focused and, not gone down the wrong path? You know what I mean? Especially like, you can get complacent once you, start getting money, or you can totally go left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get into drugs and stuff like that. How have you, I mean, besides, I know you're working on your passion. Besides that, how have you really stayed?
That's a big one, man. Like, that's some real shit for real. Like, a lot of people get some money, you know what I mean? And they just ruin their whole life, maybe even kill themselves. You know what I mean? Right. It's really crazy out here. So for me, honestly, I pray a lot, and I always, at the end of my prayers, I say, like, please keep guiding me on the road to victory and success. You know what I mean? Don't let me stray from this path. You know what I mean? And then in general, just learning from, like, I come up real hard from seeing, like, people that's did all that, you know what I mean? Or even not saying they got stuff, but they, they went down wrong paths. I was going down wrong paths. So I was lucky. I feel like everything that happened in my life, I feel like it was for a reason. I was meant to grow up the way I grew up.
So I think the first moment that I realized all of this was a possibility, that someone could do this for a living, and I only kind of realized it at the time, is I just posted a beat to YouTube. And I want to say this was in 2015 or 2016. It got a couple thousand views. No, it only got like a couple hundred views and like maybe 800 or something the first night. And I checked the next morning and I had emails from people wanting to purchase the beat.
That was the first beat?
That was the first beat. I wish there was a better story, because I feel like that's might be discouraging to people. Not the first beat that I ever made, but one of the first beats that I posted to YouTube. And like people messaged me the next day. I think that a guy offered me, he's like, hey, I want to buy the rights. I was like, okay, cool, $50. Here's my PayPal. And I like didn't even know that any of that existed. I was just like, oh, that's cool that I can get a little bit of money. And so that was the first time that I saw that it could be monetized. And so, yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't in the industry, but it was like, that was a big moment.
Sometimes we get a little bit too dependent on plugins and effects and all that, which ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I said in the first point, ain't no rules, so be as creative as you want to be. But remember, you still got to have something that's going to make you connect with the humans on the other end that are consuming.
Huh?
When you perform, do you perform in auto-tune?
Oh, no, I'll never use auto-tune live.
Never use, okay.
Because the thing about auto-tune, it only can process one voice at a time.
Wow.
So if you're performing with it and you're singing, but also 20,000 people are also singing, it goes to different, it fucks up your own
because it's gonna auto-tune everything.
It's trying to auto-tune at 20,000 voices at one time, but auto-tune is only able to do one at a time. So I never use it live. I make sure I do everything I do live is auto-tune free because it just sounds fucking stupid.
All right.
And it was, oh boy, that was 3 days of that.
Wow.
Rolling Loud.
Wow.
Just all performing with auto-tune, just everybody.
So
3 days of that sound, and it was just I don't know how motherfuckers could listen to that. That was crazy.
You need some type of a starting point for you guys to get started, and if you don't, you'll be really lost out here. I'm telling you right now, you guys need to go ahead and educate yourselves in this music business. That book is a good source. You need to go pick it up. All you need to know about the music business by Donald S. Passman. Great book. I think it'll help you out a lot. It's helped me out a lot. And I think it will get you to a good starting point to where when things happen, you will kind of know what's going on. And the more and more you get deeper and deeper into it, you'll gain more knowledge and you'll know where's your money at. You'll know how to approach certain things and you'll know kind of what to do rather than just sitting in the studio making beats and making everybody else richer. And like I always say, peace out.
I realize how many people don't know anything about the music business, yet they act like they do. They don't know anything about the music industry, they act like they do. They don't know anything about how to make music, yet they act like they do. And for those of us who, this is what we do. We make music, we make videos, we make content, we are creatives that's rooted in the music business. It's extremely annoying when y'all don't know nothing or sitting here talking like you do. You don't know shit. So I'm glad that T-Pain talks about this because everybody's talking about, all you gotta do is put auto-tune on and you'll be dope. No, it's not how it works. I know it seems like that, but that's not how it works at all.
You know what's funny? That's how I got introduced, told about auto-tune was Jennifer Lopez. Somebody said that I was in an engineer. I was with an engineer, and he told me, he said, listen, this is what I got to do for Jennifer Lopez vocals. So I didn't know. I thought it was just some singing shit. Now you like you took it. And now everybody,
I took it and used it how it wasn't supposed to be used.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Once I found it, then people started saying, Cher did this. And then I heard Kanye use it, before my shit came out. I used it before Kanye, but Kanye's use of it came out before mine.
Right.
So it was a ton of people who had used it, and nobody was able to influence a generation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was highly sought after.
Well, everybody was using it.
Nobody was using
not
it
at the level that you used it. Right,
exactly.
Right.
Well, I don't know how it's gonna connect. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna just do my best. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do whatever I can do at the time, and I'm gonna take every step that I can take, and just go with the flow and go with the universe and follow the omens. And so that's one thing. People's mindset, man, or like another mindset might be like, I feel too like I'll say this too. That I honestly feel is like, of course, when you're trying to get into this music, like you want to make money, you want to get some nice things. But if it's all that though, cause I had people where that's all that, like people who literally like, oh, I want to start making beats cause I want to make some money, bro. I see you making some money, bro.
I want to
start making
too.
beats, bro. I want a McLaren too. So it's like, I feel that. I feel you, but like you should try to do what your passion is though and monetize your passion. Because that's when it will really shine and you will really reflect that.
Not saying that everybody's worth a $50,000 advance. You might only be worth a $500 advance at your point right now. But as time goes on and your value goes up, you'll be able to get those more heftier advances and your back end pay will be a little bit more. But if you don't even know where to start to even negotiate or to do things, then you'll just be kind of left in the dust. Now, a lot of people might say, hey, that's what lawyers and that's what managers are for. But you still need to have some type of education to know where to even start at, so you'll know if that lawyer is doing the best for you or if that manager is doing great for you as well. If you don't have that, you will really essentially kind of hire the wrong people around you, and that's not good. You definitely want to hire nobody that's around you that can't get the job done or can't get the way that you need to get it done, because everybody's different. Every situation is different. So you definitely have to know what you're getting yourself into, and you definitely have to know how to navigate through that, because if you don't, things can get a little crazy.
Second thing I want you to take away from this video is that even though we got all these tools, you still need talent. We got engineers, we got AI, we got all types of technology that can really make you sound like Michael Jackson or Tupac or whomever you want. But at the end of the day, you still need talent, man. Don't nobody want to sit there and listen to a robot. Even though these voices are getting to the point where we ain't gonna be able to tell the difference right now, ain't nobody trying to hear that. And even with that, there has to be some sort of human element, because humans are the ones that are listening to the music. Although we're gonna have robot created music, which we already do essentially, but at a much higher level, humans still have to consume it. So there has to be something that connects the human with the original artist. And when that artist is just a robot, ain't nothing there. But when that artist has a story, that artist has emotions, that artist has feelings, there's something that can be connected to there. Therefore, you need to use all these tools to get your talent out there to connect with people.
A lot of people don't understand too that the power of the mind is 100% real. You tell yourself something and you like, yo, it don't matter if you're Joe Smo with nobody knows you. Like me, I ain't nobody know who I was. I didn't have no money. I ain't got no family money. I have nothing. But in my mind was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna push my way through. I'm gonna get what I want. Like, period. And so the mindset means a lot. Like, a lot of artists or producers or anything, business owners in general, will put their mindset as like, okay, different things. For one, somebody might be like, okay, all I gotta do is just make these dope beats and like, just hope somebody gonna stumble across me and we're gonna get something going. I only need one placement and I'm from there, I'm going. And that ain't, it could happen. It could happen, but that ain't the mindset that you kind of want to be in. At least for me, I'm like, I ain't relying on nothing like that.
Right.
I'm gonna go as hard as I can, and I'm gonna just push through. I'm gonna make motherfuckers want this shit. You know what I mean? Like, period.
There's no better education to actually being in the music industry and going through it every day and learning different things, and maybe even working at a record company and maybe, going to different departments and understanding what they're doing and understanding how royalties get paid, or understanding how this person in the PR department works, or how even the legal side works. But you have to have some type of training or something. It gives you a good starting point to know what is happening and how you should approach certain situations. So yeah, like, this book is really dope. It teaches you about like streaming, teaches you about royalty rates. It teaches you about how to get paid, how to look for good managers, lawyers, touring, just the ins and outs of the music business. And the good thing about it is he does it in a way where he tells stories rather than just like, it's like a dull thing. I tell people all the time, if you can, get this book.
I'm going to upload for a year and see what happens. Like, I'm going to upload for like as long as I need. If it doesn't work, then I wasted this time and it's okay. I was already fully committed, so I was just going to do it, And so once that sale happened, I think I was uploading like 3 times a week. It's like, okay, now that was an instant switch, like 7 days a week. Like, I now upload every single day, because if I could make $180 and like one day uploading 3 times a week, well, then maybe I can make $360 if I upload twice as much, and the quality stays the same, because that's important too. Like, I can't throw out trash and double that and like lower the quality, but if the quality stays the same, put my foot on the gas, then it'll just double. And then you can do that. And then it starts to compound and you start to build a catalog. It's like, okay, cool, I can do this. I'm not that far away from covering my living expenses, because they were so ridiculously low at the time. And so that's just what it did, is it's just like, okay, cool, this can happen. It's like, I didn't look back.
Okay, cool, this is where I need to stay. Like, I don't need to be in none of these lanes over here. Like, of course, I want to have some fun. I want to do this, want to that. But it's just the mindset again. Like, you can't let yourself go down that. And a lot of people do. I mean, especially a lot of the, nowadays, like so many of these artists, producers, all these, they just like wigging, bugging. Right, you know what I mean? Like, they on a timer for real. We don't know how long they about to last. You know what I mean? Like, because they tripping. I don't want to, like, I'm trying to last as long as I can. You know what I mean? I'm trying to live a good, long, healthy life. Like, you know what I mean? So It's like, And for me too, like I said, I mean, for me a lot is I'm genuinely so passionate about beats and making music. So I get a high off that. Like any of that other stuff, like I literally rather be in the studio making a beat than hitting the club and popping Molly or doing whatever people be doing. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like to have my fun, you know what I mean? But not like, I don't need all that.
It could be bad too. Like, what was that moment where you like, you had a humbling realization about your work or your talent,
Yeah, I definitely had quite a bit of those and continue to have those. When I knew that I could do it for a living, I think was like October 2019. So that was like 4 years later, or November 2019. And I made a sale for like $180 while I was having dinner with my family. Like we were all on vacation and they took me to Mexico and I was having dinner with my family and I got the sales notification. I was like, I was just sitting here and I made $180. And that, at the time, my expenses were so low that I was like, okay, this is like really, really possible. And so that was like one of those moments. And then the next moment is whenever I covered my living expenses. And then the next moment was when I started to actually get ahead a little bit.
It's always good to just upload a new piece of music and get some results immediately. This is what it's all about. It's about making something, out of a music composition and then uploading it to one of your accounts and then get a sale immediately. Get some result, get a quick win so you can get excited about this whole process. In the beginning, it can be a little bit, hard for a lot of people, me included. When I got started, it will take me forever to just get the ball rolling with sales, especially in the beginning. It took me a whole year to just get one sale, but I was a slow learner. When it comes down to the music that you make, it's very important to stay active, to always be uploading, to always be producing. And if you don't upload music, then you're not going to get any results, especially in the beginning.
Are there any specific self-help books that you can recommend to producers?
Oh man, the one book that I recommend to literally every person that I ever meet is called The Alchemist. Yeah. You got to read it. It's only 110, 120 pages. I read it in 2 days because I went to the bookstore, got Panera Bread, like at an outdoor mall, sat down, started reading it. I looked up, I was at 60 pages already. I sat there all day reading it. And not just reading it like, don't just read like that. It's something that you got to like
be engaged
really
with.
Be into. Like it's a magical book, The Alchemist. Anybody in this world, it'll change your life. Even if you already doing good and you already like me, I feel like I already had an enlightened mind. I already got all, I know a lot of stuff spiritual and universal and all that, but this will just, man, no matter what level you at, it's just gonna put you up another level. Even if you think like, oh, there ain't no, there's more levels. I mean, even Oprah be talking about books that changes her life still. You can never have too much, knowledge or too much enlightenment. I
got somebody asking me quite recently if it's a better idea to just upload one track at a time over a period of certain weeks, or upload all of the tracks that he has already composed on a bulk upload. And I've done a video about this, because it's very important to always be active and always be composing. And if you happen to have a lot of music already, then yes, obviously just put it out there in one go and then start composing music and start releasing it on a week-to-week basis.
Like, do what you really love to do. Of course, you got to have a job, though. So I'm not saying like, but don't like chase something that's hard, like becoming a music producer that's popping or whatever, when you don't even like making you music. Don't even give a shit about that. You just like, I just want to run up this bag real quick because it's like the bag gonna come. But and even once it does come, if you're not really into that passionately, like we was just talking about, it's probably not going to last very long for you, because I mean, we see a lot of producers come and go, you know what I mean? Some of them, I don't know if that was the case with some of them, but I mean, I don't know. So that's a big thing too. Is like, you should just do what you're really passionate about. Have your mindset, like, as if we're talking about producers, obviously though. So let's say we're talking strictly to people who obviously do want to be producers and they are loving that. It's really the mindset and just going hard, just going as hard as you can.
I feel like you have to have like relationships and connections, because if you have talent, you have work ethic, but you don't know anybody. And now the internet makes it a lot easier. For example, iBeats, he was hard worker, he had the talent, and then he met me, and then he sent me some beats, and I sent them to Oliver. Oliver gave it to Drake, and now here's a guy who didn't speak English at the time. He did the Galachester record for Drake and got a placement, So for example, Bobby Johnson, he was producing in Germany. He was a kid. He was in college, and he sent these beats to Q, one of my former clients, and Q made this on OG Bobby Johnson.
Right.
Me and Tunde signed him. Shout out to LVRN. And he got this placement with Beyonce. So, and we connect him. Got some other good stuff going for him, but he made those connections, and then that plays a big role into it.
I didn't make my first beat till I was 20. So at that moment, that was after a month of me taking it very serious. Like, I would watch all his videos, consistency. And like, I don't even want to say that because like everyone says that, And so at that point, I think I was uploading every other day, or maybe I was going like 3 or 4 times a week before I made that $180 sale. So
Right.
For a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So there was about 20 to 30 uploads.
A lot of empty days happened first.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it wasn't like, oh, this just happened and I was halfway in, halfway out. That's what happened when I 100% committed.
What habits do your most successful artists have? And I'm going to add producers onto that as well.
Some of the most important traits are like talent. I mean, people take it for granted, but you really do. I feel like you have to be talented. I've heard some songs that like, oh, I didn't really care for that song, but to have a sustainable career over a long period of time, you have to be talented, in my opinion. I feel like you have to have work ethic. So there's a saying that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that, So if you look at guys like in any profession, I think Malcolm Galway had this 10,000 hours thing. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you have to be consumed with it. And to be the best, it has to be all about that, because you got people gunning for you. And so you have to have that work ethic.
Your music making. Are you collaborating a lot now?
I collaborate some. I collaborate more than I used to. I think like the focus and like the realization that at the end of the day, it really is all about your performance. I mean, you got to hit your shots in basketball. You got to put out good beats. And so it's like, I don't know, you just have to go hard to stand out. Like you have to be willing to commit more than your average person. You have to be, it depends on what level you want to succeed at. If you want to succeed at the highest level, you just have to commit more than anyone else. You're gonna have to put yourself to the test. I think that's like one thing about both of them is that you can't really hide. Like when you put on that court, your skill set's there and like everyone sees and everyone knows. Yeah. And that's the same thing when you're uploading to YouTube and you put your stuff out, like it's just right there. Yeah. Like you can't hide your skill set. You can't pretend that you're something that you're not. And so I think that's maybe something I learned is like the repetition, and that you just want to continue to put yourself out there, see what level you're at, assess what you did wrong, assess why you're not where you want to be yet, and just stay at it every single day. And that would be the same thing I tried to apply to basketball.
3, the final point I told you I would talk about is that when everyone else is doing it, you need to separate yourself. T-Pain brought up a really good point. He understood the pros and cons of auto-tune. You could tell he really studied it. He never used it live, which is a shock to me, because I've seen him live in Vegas at Dre's, and he had that thing turned all the way up back in 2015. But T-Pain doesn't perform live with auto-tune because of what he just said. It can only process one voice at a time. So if all these people are talking, all this input is coming into the microphone, it's going to sound terrible. So he still had to showcase his talent, even though everybody else who started to use auto-tune after him was performing with it, kind of using it as like a crutch. He said he wanted nothing to do with that. You got to find ways to give yourself a value proposition. You got to find ways to make yourself stand out from the crowd. Inside the music business, you got to know how to market your stuff in order to do all that. If you don't know how to market your music, ain't nobody going to hear you, so it's like you don't even exist.